Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today I want to share with you something that I made a while ago. I know I need to get better at actually videoing my projects as I'm making them. This isn't the first time I've done this, but I do have photographs of every stage of the making, and boy oh boy is this thing highly topical and seasonal for Halloween. It is my Lovecraftian Mythos evidence case. It's based on a metal suitcase that's more than 100 years old. I actually originally came across this as a prop for World War I teaching, and the modifications that I've made to this are all reversible, so I have by no means ruined this case. I think I've created something that's a lot of fun, and I simply have to show it to you. Unfortunately though, it's a bit too unwieldy to really unfurl in front of the camera here. So let's go through to the other room, shall we? So here we are at the craft desk to examine this wonderful artifact, this 100-plus-year-old carrying case that initially I bought from an antiques dealer several years ago now for use in a First World War primary school workshop. It was to contain evidence about life on the front, like an attaché case or something, a prop that the kids really responded to. They really enjoyed this metal case when they saw it. But it fell out of use over time, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with it, in so much as I didn't want to sell it on, I didn't want to give it away, I definitely didn't want to throw it away, and I didn't want to repaint it either. I mean, this is a hard-won texture, this chipping paint and the patina that this case has got. And so it lived in the work shed for a while, me staring at it whenever I went in, and it staring at me, no doubt, in return. Until one day it hit me. I could use this case, this turn-of-the-century artifact, to house other artifacts that are supposed to be from that time frame. This would become my Lovecraftian Cthulhu Mythos investigation collection. This would be as if I was investigating those eldritch horrors from his stories, and it's magnificent for those purposes. It's made out of, I think, steel, painted in this black paint that is chipping away. It's a bit rusty. It's got some gold lettering still on the front, not quite fully legible as to what it originally said. It has got a leather handle and a locking mechanism in the middle, which has never worked. The key was missing when I purchased the case, but it does lock via these two sliding mechanisms on the case, so it does hold itself closed when it has to. And the real joy here is in opening up the case, if it is fully unlocked. There we go, opening up the case to reveal its contents. Now, in order to make this interior, I decided that I wanted to have something that wouldn't significantly alter the material of the case. I haven't glued anything to the interior of the case. I did pop rivet this chain in there and there, so it didn't swing all the way back, although that doesn't stop it swinging shut. It's kind of hard. Ow! Exactly, my thumb is still hurting from that particular shot, but it just adds that little bit of safety in terms of it swinging back, and also it adds to display, because when the case is open the lid is held open. The interior therefore is made out of a series of pieces of styrene glued together with super glue, and it has a base of styrene upon which I've glued the walls. Some of these sections are as deep as the case is deep, so for example this section here containing this Cthulhu statue. Others are a little bit shallower, so I've built up a box underneath this portion of the case here to house these fossils. And up here, for example, I've had to put in a pop button to hold this artifact in place. But the whole thing just works beautifully together as an experience. And a little bit like the art book, The Art of Arkham Horror, this transports me, and I love it for that reason. So the case contains a range of things. Some of it I didn't ever think I would have in a Cthulhu Mythos type of case, but it actually thematically works perfectly. This is a sea compass that someone bought me years ago when I was in high school. And it's fantastic. It still works as a compass, but I had no place to really put it. And so, I thought, actually, this is perfect. This is investigating Innsmouth and the coast and the lost city of Relay, and therefore going to sea, it would be part of that investigation. There's a small multi-lensed magnifying glass here that someone also got me when I was in high school. It's made out of, I think, probably turtle shell, and with the lenses embedded. And I never quite. It's not the eyeglasses aren't useful enough to use every day, but they are very thematic for examining documents in a case like this. I also included this evil eye pendant that someone got me from a holiday at some point. I can't quite remember who got me that, but again, it's a little talisman in the case there. This statue actually comes with a book about the impact of Cthulhu in popular culture, and for my money, it's one of the better Cthulhu statues out there. It quite closely resembles the drawing that H.P. Lovecraft himself did of Cthulhu and of the statue from The Call of Cthulhu, and for that reason, I really like it. I need to put some felt on the bottom of the statue, I think, so it has that satisfying thunk when it rests on a surface. But apart from that, it is a magnificent statue, and it goes very nicely in that part of the case. Here we have a selection of truly prehistoric, dare I say, Cambrian age or something like that, fossils that I've picked up over the years. This is some form of seaweed that's fossilized, lots of smaller fossils, sort of thing that you might find on the beach, for example, in North Wales, obviously where I spent a lot of time in my childhood. But this fossil here is actually my dad's. This was something that he found when he was a child, quite possibly actually on holiday where I grew up, strangely enough. And it is a superb example of a fossil hidden inside a stone. So he sort of broke the stone open, and inside was the sort of the negative impression of an ancient snail of some sort, and it goes wonderfully in there. In the lid of the case we have some artifacts, including a music collection. This is the Curious Sea Shanties of Innsmouth, Massachusetts, from the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, of which I am a member. This is my membership card just here, and it's a CD, but it's actually when the CD isn't in the CD player, it's actually printed to look like an LP, like a small old record, and it contains a whole load of sea shanties in that sort of old, sort of 17th, 18th century kind of style, into the 19th century, that could have been collected by Miskatonic University from in and around Innsmouth. This is also from the HPLHS, the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society shop, actually their online shop. And this is a mould. This is a fake, I think it's a shark tooth or something, definitely a tooth, which is done in the scrimshaw sort of tradition. It's made to look like an old carving that's also been inked, that people would do with whale's teeth and other bits of bone and horn and the remnants of their fishing expeditions and whaling, and this one has the esoteric order of Dagon at the top. We have possibly Dagon himself there, or maybe it's a sea monster. Sumatra Queen, Innsmouth, Massachusetts, 1872. It's a fantastic artifact. It is definitely plastic molded or resin molded, and to be fair, I suppose I could take a little bit of the shine off it with some weathering, although maybe it's been varnished for preservation, as so many artifacts were done in former times in museums. And actually the lid isn't a base of styrene. It's actually a foam mat that I've cut, in this instance, the shape of the back of the tooth out of, so that it can rest quite snugly into that shape, and then a little leather strap pops it into the lid there. I also made this section, this little again pop button there, with 3 straps of leather to hold this ever ready antique torch. This is something that that again someone bought me when I was a teenager. They knew I was into historical stuff even before I knew I was going to be an archaeologist. It's got a magnificent lens on the front, and it's a torch from about the First World War, thereabouts. And it's ever ready. Obviously, still a battery brand, and inside there would have been a big battery that took up the whole size of this torch. But actually, a friend of mine helped me to convert it so that it accepted D batteries inside the mechanism there, and it can just about produce a light. It's not the brightest light. It's not the most impressive torch in the world, but it does do a job. And it adds to that atmosphere, investigating documents perhaps as you're looking through, I don't know, perhaps Miskatonic University Library at the Necronomicon itself. And it rests there in the lid of the case. Here we have, this is something else that someone got me when I was a teenager. It's a retro light meter, which it's actually for filming and for photography, and it gives you I don't think it works anymore, but it has a sensor at the top of the meter, and it gives you a reading for different levels of light. And I kind of like it as almost like a Ghostbusters type artifact, something that's maybe used to scanning, arcane energies or something. This is not period. I think this is probably 1950s, 1960s, but this case, nonetheless, I suppose it has existed up until now. So maybe it's collected things from the 1930s and kept on growing in terms of its collection as time went on. This is, as I say, my membership pass for the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. Let me just make sure I'm not revealing any information that I shouldn't. So we just cover up that stuff. So this is my membership here. I joined in June 2020. It was in the middle of the first UK pandemic lockdown, and I figured, why not become a lifetime member of the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, and I'm a proud member to this day. And these are some other things that I've got from them in the past year or so. This is almost like an index card, which is an art that came with the artifact of the tooth, I do believe, of the Scrimshaw, Innsmouth Scrimshaw, and acquisition 1902, not for sale or loan, Nport Historical Society. Well, somehow it's ended up in my collection, not in theirs. This is a telegram from the Historical Society. Every year they send you, I'll blur out my address there if I can. Every year they send you a stamp to go into your membership, almost like a passport stamp, membership renewal, and it's sent in the style of a telegram, an old telegram that is just wonderful. It's a magnificent little thing to receive. I look forward to receiving one every year from now on, actually. I can't wait to get the next one. And again, it just sits beautifully in here, like a communication from a fellow investigator. It's just superb. Here we have a couple of publications, monographs from Miskatonic University. They are Miskatonic University Press, 1927, 1928. This one is all about the Scrimshaw. This was actually bought separately from the Scrimshaw, but it covers where it was found, the culture surrounding the Scrimshaw, a sea shanty there, which I believe this one is on that CD there. It's just a thing of beauty, and it's produced in a way which genuinely looks like a university press production, along with these other publications here in biology, geology, history, literature, anthropology, and archaeology, including this one, which is from the archaeology department, one of their monographs about interpretations of myth, patterns, and iconography of the Codex Beltran Escave. It's again so well written, and I've read a lot of small university press monographs in my time, particularly about archaeology, and this one is written very convincingly, and it's a pleasure to read. Again, more about their other monographs in this universe. And what a wonderful Miskatonic University Press logo as well that they developed for that series. This is just an old style newspaper. I thought it fit
quite well. I've had it on my shelves for years. Again, I picked this up when I was a teenager. There's nothing specific about it that is Lovecraftian, apart from the fact that it just fits with the research angle for this case. But this here, this is Arkham Police Department evidence, Arkham, Massachusetts, which again I bought from the Historical Society, and it is Wilbur Whately, deceased. It's his breaking into the library at Miskatonic University, looking for arcane rites that might bring his father, who is a eldritch being from another universe, into our universe. And he's torn pages out of the Necronomicon, which they've reproduced here for our viewing and RPG and investigation pleasure. A right rendering of the Book of Arab, the Mad Arab Al-Hazred by Dr. D. His Hand IC. There's sort of diagrams. There's rights. There's all sorts of possibilities in these pages, and it's stored in this lovely envelope, sealed evidence, do not remove, as a way of recording the events of that night when Wilbur broke into the library and was, I think he was mauled by a dog, I seem to recall in the story, which escapes my memory just for now, but I'll put the name of the story on the screen. And there's one more thing in this case that's worthwhile showing you, and that is I built into it a secret compartment. If we lift up here, then inside the secret compartment I have space for something. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put into the secret compartment, but of course it's got to have a secret compartment, a case like this, and when I find the right thing, it will live there. It will live underneath this raised maybe the evil eye can live there. It will live underneath this raised platform, again made out of styrene, and it's just a nice little secret, little Easter egg that beyond the experience of this case can add a little something extra. Particularly if I ever use this case in a Call of Cthulhu tabletop RPG campaign, then there'll be layers upon layers, and room for the story to be told in that sort of interactive, unfolding kind of way.
So there we have it, my Cthulhu Mythos evidence case. Hopefully a growing body of evidence that one day I'll use to take down the dark evil that lurks in the shadows. In all seriousness, making a project like this is not only a true joy, interacting with this old box and turning it into something that tells its own story and has potential to be used, for example, in the Call of Cthulhu RPG, or just in fantasy, just opening the thing up and pouring through the contents, is very similar to what I look for in an art book. You may recall a couple of weeks ago we discussed the Art of Arkham Horror art book, and how a good art book for me is something that transports you. It gives you atmosphere, it takes you into another world and sets your imagination loose. And this kind of sort of prop project, I guess, is exactly that. It was a place to store all this stuff that I'd sort of been bringing together, but also in storing it invites a story. It helps you to contextualize it and to share it with other people in a way that's genuinely exciting, particularly in a month like this as we approach Halloween. Hopefully that's been interesting for you. If you ever make something similar of your own, definitely share it with me. Put a link below, or reach out. I definitely want to see this sort of stuff. It gets me so excited, and it's so much fun to see people enjoying and interacting with their particular corner of nerddom in such a visceral and hands-on kind of way. So it's just so great. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one anyway. Thank you for watching, guys. Until next time, do take care. Bye bye.